All right, what's up, guys? So I just wanted to come on here and talk about two things real quick. So the first thing, I wanted to share a little bit about my story, talk about the process a little bit. And then the second thing I wanted to talk about is having a why and why your why is important. So recently I've had a couple of people say some things to me that just ticked me off a little bit. So for example, the other day somebody hit me with the, oh, you think you're so cool, or I've had a couple of people tell me I seem cocky, or they expected me to be cocky based off my Instagram or something like that recently. I've had somebody, just whatever, some names like that. You get the point, and I get it, and that's part of why I'm making this video, so for people that haven't known me. But I think even some of the people that have known me for a while forget where I came from. And I want to also make this video for the people that haven't known me for a while. So like I said, a couple people I've met in person recently, or a couple people that I've talked to that have only known me for the last year or so, have kind of pointed out to me that they think I have a big ego or I'm cocky or whatever. But what these guys don't understand is that I used to be the overweight kid. I was a kid in middle school who was overweight, who was real insecure, who had nothing going for him, who everybody overlooked. And it was only through absolute discipline and absolute work that I've gotten to where I am today. I got in shape. I started developing my mindset. I started reading. And it's not like I was a kid who just matured and I enjoyed the gym and I got my shit together. It was a fucking pain in the ass every fucking time I was in the gym. I talk about the gym because it was a big thing for me. It helped me with my mindset, helped me with my physique and all that. And that was a pain in the ass. It took so much discipline to get into shape. So for reference, I'm 18 now. I'm like 6'4", 6'3". I'm like 200 pounds. When I was 13, I was, 5'8", 5'7", whatever it was, and I was 220 pounds. Just put it in perspective, and I'm still pretty big right now at 200 pounds. So hopefully that puts into perspective how out of shape I was, and you can imagine how insecure I was because of that, and how poor my mindset was because of that. I didn't really fit in a lot in school. I didn't really have a lot of great friends in school. I just didn't mess with everybody else for X, Y, or Z reasons. So some of these people that haven't known me for a while will see me now and they think I'm cocky, or they think I was just given all the blessings that I have now without actually seeing the work that I had to put in to get there. And I'm just creating this video as a note for anybody who hasn't known me for a while, to share a little bit about the absolute fucking grind that has gone into who I've become today. And I'm not even crazily successful or anything, and the fucking distance I'm gonna go is so much greater than I've already gotten, but it's still worthwhile to look back on how far I've come already, because that's important too as well, right? So I guess that's point number one, is I wasn't born this person that I am now. I've had to work even to get here. I've had to work my ass off to get where I'm at today, and I'm not even that far. Obviously everything's relative, but I still feel like I have so much further I can go. When I was starting the business, nobody believed in me then. Nobody was cheering me on then. Everybody tried to discourage me. It got to the point where and I've never shared this online, it got to the point where when I was 16, I got kicked out of my house junior year of high school. And so I got kicked out of my house. I was couch surfing a little bit. I was trying to do okay in school. I was trying to build a business, all couch surfing. I stayed with my dad for a time, for a good bit. My dad was in a real rough spot with money. He had a one-bedroom apartment, and so for me to stay with him, for him to try to provide me with food or extra electricity or whatever, he wasn't really able to handle it. So there was a period where I was starting the business where I was sleeping on the floor of my dad's apartment, on the laundry room floor. There were some times when we absolutely had no food, and I had to go buy food on credit card, or whatever I had left was used to buy food at times. But there really were days where I just would not eat because it wasn't worth it spending the money to me, when I knew, for example, my dad doesn't get paid the next day and he could buy food the next day. And listen, the only reason I'm sharing this, like I said, is to put into perspective of where I came from and where I'm at today. So look, I'm not a pussy. I'm not gonna bitch about this shit. It is what it is. It's the life I chose. It's a grind. It's cool. Like I said, the reason I'm sharing this is so that people understand where I came from. Obviously, things have gotten better since then. I was able to help my dad out with money a little bit, get the business going. But my point was, when I was in those moments, nobody was saying, oh, Noah, you think you're so cool. You think you're so cocky, Noah. When I was sleeping on the floor, building the business, while trying to stay in school without telling anybody, nobody knew any of this. I was going so many nights back to back with getting little to no sleep, or just horrible quality sleep, because I was in the fucking laundry room with the laundry machine running, trying to sleep, and I was building my business just like nothing was happening. Like I said, it's just part of the grind. You got to deal with it. Now, I don't want this video to be too long. There's so much more I can share about my journey and whatnot. But I just want to clear up whatever perspective that some new people might have of me, where they think I was just born this person that I am now. I just want to share those couple of things just to explain that I have been through fucking more than you can imagine to get to the point that I'm at now. And even after getting to where I'm at now, I'm the most solid person in terms of loyalty, in terms of never switching up, that you could ever imagine. The same people that I started with are the same people that I've stuck true to when I've had the opportunity to switch up on everybody, when it would have been convenient for me to switch up. I never switched up. I've had people that I've helped out switch up on me, and even when that happened, when I felt like saying fuck everybody, I stayed true to being loyal. I stayed true to who I am, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna stay loyal even if I get fucked over. At least I know that I didn't switch up on myself and my values. It's even gotten to the point where some people that I started with have become liabilities to me because of how fucked their mindset is, because of how much of a distraction they are. But even then, I've still stayed true to those people and my values. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Now, the second thing that I said at the start of the video that I wanted to talk about is having a why and knowing what your why is and finding a strong why. Now, I think it's important to also note that you can have multiple whys, I think. And I like to be flexible. I like to have a couple of different whys that I can draw on whenever I need to. But I mean, with business is always ups and downs. We've been through some crazy ups and downs recently. And I mean, without a strong why, it's hard to get through it. You have to have a strong why, and that's helped me a lot recently. And so I wanted to share a little bit about my why and my backstory a little bit. So my parents got divorced when I was young, right? Cool. Like 3rd grade or so. And then my dad ended up getting with my stepmom when I was about 5th grade. I think I stayed with her until I was about 8th grade. And they lived together, and I lived with them. I bounced back and forth between my mom's place and their place. My stepmom's place. And I remember my mom had cancer, so she wasn't in the loop as much. There wasn't as much she could do. Now, my stepmom was extremely abusive, and I don't know if I'll ever share all the full details of that story. You see, and I don't know if I'll ever share all the details of that story, but I remember it got to a point where I realized, okay, my dad's in over his head. He can't see what's going on. I have an abusive stepmom. My mom has, I think, was stage 4 cancer maybe. She can't do anything. And I remember thinking to myself, you really are the only person that can save yourself. And I remember what I felt most in that time period was a lack of control. And being in that abusive environment all the time and not having the capability to pull myself out or stand up for myself was the biggest thing that got me. And I remember it got to a point where I told myself, you know what, fuck everybody, fuck everything. I'm gonna do what I have to do to make sure that I never have that lack of control again. I'm gonna work on my mindset. I'm gonna work on becoming mentally strong. I'm gonna make sure that I always have the ability to pull myself out of a situation like that. And I was like 11 or 12 at this time. So I realized pretty early on that if you want to save yourself, it has to be you that does it. And so I started watching all the good content. I started reading the right books. And I think, so like I said, I ended up getting out of that environment. The summer between 8th grade and 9th grade, I believe is what it was. At the start of 9th grade, I lost 60 pounds in a month and a half, 2 months, something like that. I got real skinny. I got into the gym, started putting on muscle. And I remember making a promise to myself where I said, I'm going to improve myself no matter what. And I'm never going to stop improving myself. One, to make sure that I can always take care of the people around me and take care of myself so that I can never be put in an environment like that again where I have a lack of control in a dangerous place. And 2, I started seeing the benefits of self-improvement. I started reading about all the improvements of other people. I started to realize how capable we can all be. And I made a promise to myself then that I would never stop improving myself so that I could become that person that I needed the most at that time. So I could become the person that would never be put in those positions without control again. And I promised myself I would never stop improving, just as a sign of respect at what everything self-improvement has done for me and how it has allowed me to grow. That's why my mission now isn't just for money. Obviously the freedom, the money, the vacations, all of that, all of that is dope. But even when I have a bunch more fucking money, but even when I have millions in the fucking bank, I'll never be that person that kind of just caps out, that kind of just takes it easy. I'm always gonna keep pushing to the next fucking level. If I make $1 million in a year, the next year I'm doing fucking 10 million. Like I said, because I have a deep rooted why. I have a deep-rooted promise to myself that I would never change, that I would never switch up, that I would always keep improving myself, even when it fucking sucks, because of what it did for me in that situation, and because of the respect I have for self-improvement. So that's why when people have switched up on me, when I've been sleeping on the floor, when I've been sleep deprived with no sleep for multiple days in a row, that's why I'm able to keep going. Even if I'm not performing at my best, I know there's always going to be a light at the end of the tunnel, and that's why I never quit. So again, I just want to make a bit of a real video because I don't post stuff like this often enough probably. I want to be an inspiration for others, so when I'm even more successful in the future, when there's other people that are trying to start their own thing, that might be looking back on all my past content watching, I want them to be able to see me when I was building the business, and I want people to be able to be inspired by my story. And like I said, it's real easy to post Instagram content that looks cool and whatnot, and I get it. Maybe that's why people think I'm cocky or they think I have a big ego or whatever. But Instagram is just the surface level. You guys could never understand how deep this shit goes. So I also just want to make this video just add a little bit of depth for people to understand who I am, because I do want to continue building the personal brand, but I want to build it in the right way. And I think the right way to do it is just by being authentic and by sharing more about my story, because I think it's sharing the hardships, showing the hardships that you've overcome, that are more inspiring than people just seeing the lavish lifestyle or whatever. So I hope you guys can appreciate that information as much as I wanted to share it. Share the video, like the video, and I hope this helps somebody out.